My name is Blair Burrows. I'm a field representative for the Public Employees Federation. I work in the New York City field office, and I've been asked to talk about how to file a grievance. When we talk about grievances, there are many different things that are called a grievance in our contract. So we'll often refer to a grievance as a general complaint, right, which is written down. However, for the purpose of this video, we're going to be talking about Article 34 grievances, right, which is distinguished from an Article 33 grievance, which you would get if you were given a notice of discipline. So if you receive a notice of discipline, you would get a notice of discipline or Article 33 grievance form, which looks like this. You can also file an out of title or Article 17 grievance, which is also on a separate form. That looks like this. But today we're talking about Article 34, which is this form. And you'll notice that it has two boxes, one that says contract and one that says non-contract on it. That's how you know it's the appropriate form for filing a grievance under Article 33. So you would look, the first place you would go is look at the contract, because a grievance is a creature of the contract. We're looking at Article 34, not Article 33. With that said, Article 34 states that a grievance is a violation on the interpretation or the application or violation of whatever's in the contract. So before you begin, you should look at the contract, look at the language, and know what exactly you're grieving. And it's often helpful to point exactly to the language and quote the language from the grievance on the form when you fill it out. The next thing that you need to know about filing a grievance is the procedure. So you have the substance of the grievance itself, but you also have the procedure. And you have to keep in mind that the grievance must be filed within 30 days of an incident. Whatever it is that you're grieving, the grievance form has to be filed within 30 days. So that's the first major thing you need to know. So you can only do it. It's suggested, well actually it states in the contract, before you file the formal grievance, the form, before you file the form, the thing that you want to do is you want to talk to your supervisor or the person who made the error or the violation and try to settle it informally. If you can't, I would suggest that you talk to a steward, your council leader, or even call your field rep and see if you can resolve the matter before it gets written down. That's the first step. However, if you have to write it down, keep in mind you have to do it within 30 days. All right? So we'll go over how to fill out the form and exactly what the form has to have. All right? Okay, this is the grievance form, standard grievance form for Article 34. Right? You put your name, your title, your department or agency, your work location, the name of your supervisor, and then whether it's a contract or non-contract grievance. Now the difference between that you can find if you read in the contract in Article 34.41A and B, right? So contract grievance is a grievance concerning the interpretation, application, or violation of a specific term of the contract. While a non-contract grievance could be just about anything else. However, keep in mind, performance evaluations cannot be grieved. They go in a separate form, and they have to be done within 15 days. And probationary terminations cannot be grieved. So don't use this form. You might hurt yourself, and you might get a bad evaluation if you don't do it in a timely manner. All right? So the contract goes on to say that it's a requirement that the grievance has to be in writing, on a form given by the state. This is the form. It must be on this form. The contract goes on, it shall identify the provision violated, which are right here in these boxes, right? You have to identify it. You have to give a summary, a short, plain statement of what happened, what you believe to be the violation, and the remedy sought. You also need to put in the date of the occurrence, and this note says that this date must be within 30 days of the date of submission. So you would fill out the form, you have to date it and sign it on the bottom, right? Your remedy sought. So that's how you would fill out your grievance form. The next and most important, well, an important part is you would take it to management, give them the form, have them date stamp it so it's within the 30 days, and then have a copy made and given back to you. That's your proof that you submitted the grievance within the 30-day time period. Okay, once your grievance has been filed, you received your copy, stamped copy, returned back to you. The next step in the procedure is a meeting. Usually there's a meeting with the management rep and you, and hopefully you can bring your steward and or your field representative to help represent you. It's been my experience that most members find it difficult to argue directly with their supervisors, so you should get your elected official or your field rep to assist you with the meeting, which they'll be more than happy to do. Once the meeting is concluded, you've presented all your arguments with the documentation which backs up your argument, which is what happens at the meeting. The meeting concludes, management has 20 days, as it says in the contract, to give you a response in writing. When you get the response in writing, you have 10 days, if it's denied, to appeal to step 2. I strongly urge you, as soon as you get your denial, if it is a denial, that you get it to your field rep immediately to make sure that he can send it with any other documentation that needs to be filed to step 2. Very important. Make sure as soon as you get a denial that you get it to your field rep as soon as you can. Delay may cause the grievance to be denied at step 2. Your appeal will be held to be untimely if it gets there more than 10 days later. All right? So also, don't assume that your field rep is going to get a copy or that the steward will get a copy. Management will frequently give you the copy, especially if you're the person that filed it. And they might not CC the field rep or the steward. So make sure that you notify them right away. So in conclusion, I'd like to say, if you need to file a grievance, you can follow what I've just given you. Of course, you can always talk to your steward, your council leader, and your field rep. Your field rep will also help you file a grievance, and if you need them to, they will file a grievance. The important thing is that you get to know what your contract is, you get to take some of the mystery out of the procedure when somebody says, file a grievance. So now you know what a grievance entails and you know how to put it on paper. If you have any further questions about how to file a grievance, or if you need to file a grievance, please contact your local field office. Thank you.